We have our replacement yokes. If I can get this to focus here. As you can see, one of the bolts was broken in there, so we're just going to try and get that out and start putting the rest of it together. So we've got the hole pretty central, so we just need to try and get the rest of the bolt out now. That'll be fun.
This is running into a problem. What do you try and do?
We need to move it.
I'll tell you what, where's the other wee tap wrench? There's a small one, you know, the wee one?
Must be in the box. Let me have a look.
It's in this box.
Right, hold on. So they need to do it in increments then. See, this is a good thing about working with the camera. It means that Bob's got to do the work, and if he messes it up, then it's his fault. But he flies in. He says that I have to appear in the camera and that he's going to film. So put that off as long as I can. Just let Bob do the work, you know.
This is through, I think.
It's through. It's through. There's a new thread in there. So we had to put a long helicoil through here because the standard size would only go maybe about halfway, so we put the long type through, and that's the bolt. So that's a good solid repair. That will hold it really well. Yeah, look okay. Cool now. Okay, so this is the new setup on now, and when we put the fork leg, or both fork legs in, they just pushed straight up, no gap, right in, and everything's looking true. And the real test is here at the spindle, so if there was any problem, this wouldn't line up. So really happy with that. That's it's been the yokes right enough. That's been the problem. So we need to take it back off again to get the cabling through, but this is just a test fit, and at least now we know it's going to be alright. Fabulous. Well, the wheels get quite a bit of corrosion on the inside here, so I'm going to get that buffed down and see if we can get that a bit better. I've cleaned out the outside a bit, the spokes and things. It feels solid enough, it's just this stuff here, so we'll see how we got on with the grinder. That certainly looks a lot better. The difference here now that it's set, so it just turns the rust into this sort of black film, or converts it, so that should prevent it for quite some time. It's this stuff here. I use this Q-Rust by Hammerite, not sponsored by the way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put some Hammerite silver, just a little coat of silver, and that should hold it back for quite a while, make the wheel quite solid. So we'll get on with that. Just a very light coat, and that should be enough. See, it's just to protect it and stop any further corrosion setting in here. Tape, give that a clean up as well. Yep, that's looking okay. Tyre fitted this morning. This is how far I've got. Maybe we should have filmed putting this part on. What I tend to do is start to get the tyre on for here, and because it's a tube, keeping the tube high, and that prevents getting it nicked. So if I leave it, the last bit of the tyre up to here, there's a good chance I'll nick it. What I've come across is that the tyre is really tight up here. It's really tight, and part of the reason for that is it's so cold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the house and let it heat up for a bit. I found that when a tyre gets up a little bit of temperature in it, then it's just so much easier, and I wouldn't mind so much if it was a tubeless tyre. You know, you could maybe get away with it a wee bit more, but because it's a tube, there's a higher risk of nicking the tube. So it's getting in the house for a wee while, heating up, and then I'll give it a go in about an hour or so. I'm just going to place the tyre here for a little while underneath a little diesel heater, just to get the temperature up a little bit, because it's really stiff and it's really cold tonight. So I'll give that a wee 10 minutes. I was going to put it in the house, but I get caught putting it in the kitchen. So it's back out here. Here we go. So a little bit of heat, it did a trick. That's it, fully on. So final clean up with the wheel, and it's another little thing done. Getting there. Now the headlamp wasn't working, and when Bob took it apart, we found that there was only one spring on it, which was this one. So the headlight was only working on the high beam. Is it the high beam, Bob, it was working on?
High beam.
Just a high beam. So the dip wasn't working. Obviously what was happening there, it was pulling it in at one side but not the other. So the other resourceful Bob, we found an old door lock with three of these, get that to focus, three of these springs in it, and Bob has made two new springs there, and we tested it and it's working perfectly. So it's another wee job out the way. this is young Duncan here, trying to give us a wee hand. He's slightly younger than us and slightly more handsome, you can see. And what a great job he's doing. This is it with the majority of rust being sandblasted off. Now I'll coat it with some preserver. So that just gives it a durable finish, and it means that when it's exposed to the elements, I'll give it a bit more protection. The mudguard's okay, there's wee bits here and there on it, but I suppose that's patina, a little bit of patina, so I'm not going to bother too much with it. I'm not going to go too far with it. I think it's actually okay the way it is, so it should be fitting with the rest of the bike. But I say that under there just helps, one, to look a little bit better, know that you see it, but just to give it that bit extra protection. On the bike, on the VZ, and the end of the old cable has this barrel type connection. Now the end of the new cable has this type, and it's to fit into this little clutch actuator arm, so you can tell that's not going to work. Now I've searched cables, and every cable I see for a Z200 has this. I did see one, but it wasn't available, that had the barrel type, so maybe one of you Z200 experts can explain that to me. Maybe there's some of the rarer models or whatever have that different type. Anyhow, the solution is this. We're going to cut that off, and we're going to solder this nipple on. Bob's going to, we have made a wee, or Bob's made a special wee tool for flaring it, and then we'll solder it. So this is a homemade cable former. So it's just 2 pieces of angle iron drilled in a certain way. So Bob's just going to put the nipple in because he forgot the first time, and then he's going to put the second one in, and then we'll flare the top yet. All within the law.
It's just protruding enough, that should do it.
Right.
Just needs a wee scalp with a hammer.
Okay. So just explain, Bob, what that tool is you're using there. That's homemade as well.
It's just designed in a way to mushroom the end of this to make a nice wee cage.
Right.
so that the solder gets between it and stops it from pulling through the nipple.
So it's a wee punch, but that's been adapted. You adapted it.
I've got a wee angle in there, and I've also drilled a wee 2mm hole up it so that it captures the cable and doesn't allow it to spread before it starts to squash.
Right.
So this is about the third attempt at it, trying to get it right to get a nice wee cage.
Well, the test pieces have been good, so.
Well, this actually goes in and captures the cable in the 2mm hole, and then we can go about just starting to spread it and manipulating it.
You just want a kind of circular motion to shape it.
It's going.
Happy with that?
Well, let's have a look at it and see.
This camera picks it up at the
Pick it out there.
initial shape.
There you go.
Maybe we might take it. So, see it. So you can see the shapes of that. The nipple, you side it, let's bring it up. Well, it'll just snugly fit in there so that when the solder's in, that's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so the next step is to get it soldered. Beautiful, looks great, Bob.
That's it.
Careful. So I finally get round to the last parts. I discovered that the fuel tap is it's leaking pretty badly, so I've ordered this one here. It's actually a really good copy. It's almost identical. Get it out here with one hand. It's almost identical to the original. I mean, even weight wise, I've had this one off, it feels exactly the same. So as long as it doesn't leak, so I'll get a crack and get that done. It's really hard to get work done when Oscar's around. He loves attention. He's grabbing my leg now. Anyhow, okay, so this is her more or less finished. I have two little jobs to do, and that is, one of them is to change the oil, and the other one is I'm going to remove the starter motor and clear up. I'd ordered a matte gold paint to paint these caps, but it hasn't arrived yet, so that's hence why it's not done. So looking at the bike from when I got it, it doesn't look too much different, cosmetically wise anyway. However, there's some subtle differences. Most notably is the badge. I've managed to get a badge for each side, which I think just changes the look of the bike when the badges are on, and it seems to be pretty common for the badges to be missing. So they're there. The grab rail, which was missing, I've managed to get that, and I think that just sort of finishes off the rear end. These indicators are not genuine, in fact they're pretty naff. However, they look right, but I will change them out when I get a chance. The exhaust, I don't know if you remember, the exhaust was pretty bashed up, so I got that new exhaust, and a general clean up of the engine, and cosmetically that's been about it. Mechanically is a different story. The amount of work it's been done, including stripping the engine, cleaning the carb, replacing the magneto and the stator, replacing the fork yokes and the front tyre there as a matter of course. So lots of little jobs as well, like all the cables I had to replace, the clutch cable, the speedo cable. The speedo cable was actually looked like a new one, however this part here didn't fit properly. In fact, it's still loose there, I'll need to tighten that up. So lot of niggly jobs. I replaced these bolts. The only ones I could get were titanium, however they look good. They were big headed bolts that just didn't look right. Also replaced the castle nuts as well. So lots and lots of little things that can't really be seen. And when you looked at this bike to begin with, it looked good. You know, it looked really quite smart. And it's not until you dive into these things you really see what's required. So I'm going to get the oil changed today and get some petrol in it. Oh, the other thing was the petrol tap, and so that's on now. Looks identical to the original one. Slight difference in the position of the outlet, however it should be okay. Yeah, I cleaned up this side of the engine a bit. I didn't want to overdo it with the cosmetics because, as I'd said in an earlier video, this bike was really to be used. It's not a show pony. It's not going to be conkers or anything like that. I just thought it would be a nice sweet little bike for riding. Just a bike to be used, you know, not something to be shown. So from that brief, I think it's probably succeeded quite well. I'll find out today as I take a little run up the street and see how she feels. Okay, so I'll get on with getting the oil changed. So there we have it. Mission accomplished, I would say, with that little bike. That's it done. Now usable. Just need to wait till the springtime now, I think, to use it. Anyway, if you're interested in how the whole thing developed, I think this is the 5th video, so you can go back. I'll include it in the playlist, you can have a look at it. Meantime, thanks very much for watching, and also thanks all my subscribers. I'm blown away. I think 240 subscribers. I think that's just incredible, so thank you very much for that. And that's it to the next one. The cub will be finished soon, so will the little motocross bike. So if you're interested in any of them, please watch out for those videos coming out. Meantime, look after yourself, ride safe, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you.